Agency context, you want to put a dent in the universe. You want to do something so cool and breakthrough that people take notice. And you may measure that in terms of awards. You may measure that in terms of cultural resonance. You may measure that in terms of, what kind of impact it has on the company. But when you're inside the company, you just want to survive to the next day. What was really interesting to me is the learning that I had about when you're actually in a company and building a brand. It is very, very different than being on the agency side advising companies to build a brand. And I think you can probably catch the sense of that just in the language that I used. On one side, you're building a brand. On the other side, you're advising others how to build the brand. So the relationship dynamic to the brand is very different, one from ownership to consultant. When you're on the client side, there's so much to do and there's so many other priorities to handle other than brand building. Because when you're on the agency side, like, that's the most important thing. The brand is the most important thing. When you get on client side, it's one of the important things. Sometimes it's even lower down the list than you might think, depending on the conversation and the time. But yeah, they are two very different things.
Where do you think the agencies fall, not short, but sort of where their work stops, that they could hear a little bit about what the clients need to actually continue to build that brand, to actually sort of take it to market and connect it?
The important thing is to know that a lot of people client side aren't brand builders. It's just not their expertise. Brand building is a collective outcome from lots of people doing their own specific work. So you may have someone who is in procurement and sourcing, right? Who's making decisions related to specifically procurement and sourcing. But obviously, in any number of industries, the ingredients and the sourcing strategies affect your brand. You may have someone who works in shopper marketing and is focused on the dynamics of a retailer relationship and is making decisions according to what is going to be most successful in a retailer relationship dynamic. Of course, some of that adds up to a brand. There's very rarely one person or one department that is responsible for the brand. Everyone client side is making a piece of the brand puzzle, and you just hope that senior leadership has enough vision, communication ability, and consistency in the narrative that they're telling, that everyone in the company starts thinking with a holistic mind and is making all these micro and nano decisions that in the short run don't seem like they're making a significant impact on the brand. But when everyone across the company is making all those micro and nano decisions with under the same vision and long-term ambition, that adds up to the brand. And, that's really hard to manage. Everyone has different competing agendas and ambitions and personal perspectives and different takes on what is right for the brand or not. And so you're really managing a lot of tiny decisions on the client side. And so again, no one is expert at building a brand. You're just expert at the one function that you do. When you're agency side, you are expert on advising people how to build a brand. So what that means is you are trying to pass along frameworks, language, tools, analysis, or diagnostic tools to help people understand, where their brand is right now and where they need to push it, and then what actionable steps, even assets that they can use to help shape it and move it in another direction. On the agency side, it's about teaching and oftentimes delivering the assets and tools. And then on the client side, it's about trying to figure out how in between the decisions you have to make for your specific function that you're leading, how can you make a decision a little bit more of a brand supporting decision or not?
You don't realize that the people who are executing the brand don't have Illustrator, they don't have Photoshop, they don't have 10 years of design experience. They just don't possess those skills.
Mm-hmm.
And the tools that you gave them weren't necessarily the right thing for them to do their job properly.
I have a friend here in the United States who runs his own mid-sized agency in the southeastern United States. And he started so he has his agency, and then he started a product company, a beer company. And he has been, he's one of the most awarded and successful people in the history of advertising and just loved by everybody, and a huge champion of the world of creativity and design and things like that. And as a business owner, he's like, I can't do any of that. Like, it's too expensive to do any of that. Like, it'll crush my margin. It'll destroy it. Like, I can't be the best marketer for my brand because I don't have the money to do that, and I have all these other problems like the warehouse and distribution and just getting awareness of the product. Like, I have these very basic needs, and I think it's a really great contrast in what an agency context aspires you to do versus what leading a business aspires you to do or inspires you to do. So in the agency context, you want to put a dent in the universe. You want to do something so cool and breakthrough that people take notice. And you may measure that in terms of awards. You may measure that in terms of cultural resonance. You may measure that in terms of, what kind of impact it has on the company. But when you're inside the company, you just want to survive to the next day and be a little better tomorrow than you were today. And you have all these things that you have to manage: the energy, morale, money, in the case of my friend, retailer relationships and stuff like that. It is so complex and exhausting to manage all that stuff that you're just like, I want to be a little better tomorrow than I am today, and I'll be happy. And then it's the belief that over time, you'll eventually make a dent in the universe because your company will be so remarkable. But for right now, I just want to be a little better tomorrow than I am today.
Hello YouTube, I'm Ross Drakes. I'm the founder of Nicework, and thank you so much for your time at watching this video. If you're seeing me, it means you made it all the way to the end, so we've at least done something right. If you enjoyed this, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I think more important than that is if you know someone who might need to hear this, if you think someone out there who needs this message in their life, please spread the link, because it makes a huge difference to the world, and it allows us to fulfill our message of making sure that there are no more bad brands in the world. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next video.